Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 4th edition of Unstoppable Africa, powered by the Global Africa Business Initiative. Now please welcome your MCs, Miss Folly Batibo and Mr. Larry Madowo.
Okay, we need to tread water a little bit. Again.
Good morning, Your Excellencies. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, a warm welcome, Secretary General. It's now time to formally open Unstoppable Africa 2025.
Welcome back. This is it. This is Unstoppable Africa 2025. Are you excited to be here? Let me try that one more time.
We need a bit more excitement.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Unstoppable Africa 2025. Are you excited to be here? Voila.
Thank you so much for your presence here today. This is the big event on Africa, for Africa, on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly. So we appreciate your time.
Every year we convene all the Africans here. This is a place to be for the African delegation, for all our co-Africans, once a year here in New York.
We are deeply honored by the presence of the visionary leaders who convene this initiative.
And to begin, it is my great pleasure to welcome a driving force behind the Global Africa Business Initiative, ladies and gentlemen, as UN Assistant Secretary General and CEO of UN Global Compact. She has championed the private sector's role in Africa's rise. Please put your hands together and help me welcome my friend, Ms. Sanda Ojiambo.
Good morning, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Such an honor to see a packed room, all of you here, unstoppable for Africa and unstoppable Africans. Larry, you call me a champion. There's so many more champions in the room. We're going to hear from them in the course of today, in this opening session, and through the rest of the 2 days. In this room, we have delegates and participants from all over the African continent, and indeed all over the world, because Africa is unstoppable. And I'd like to start by acknowledging Secretary General Antonio Guterres, Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed, the President of Angola, His Excellency Mahmoud Youssouf, for the African Union, for their leadership and support for the Global Africa Business Initiative, or GABI, as we call it. We're gathered here at the 80th anniversary of the United Nations to continue to rewrite this new narrative for Africa, a narrative that presents the imperative to shift from doing business in Africa to doing business with Africa. Since our last Unstoppable Africa event, GABI has kept up the momentum. We have convened alongside the Africa CEO Forum, we've convened alongside the African Union, and we continue to highlight what makes Africa unstoppable. Together here, we will drive sustainable business, we will drive the AU Agenda 2063, and we will drive the UN Sustainable Development Goals. I'd like to proceed with the official opening, and I'd like to ask delegates if we can close a little bit of the chat and focus our attention, because we have some excellent speakers coming up. And I'd first like to invite, and my honor to invite, His Excellency Mahmoud Ali Youssouf, the chairperson of the African Union Commission, to give his opening remarks. Let's give him a hand. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Excellence, Monsieur João Lourenço, président de la République d'Angola, président en exercice de l'Union africaine, Excellence, Monsieur le secrétaire général des Nations Unies, Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs les chefs d'État et de gouvernement, éminents dirigeants du secteur privé de la société civile,
chefes de Estado e líderes do setor privado da sociedade civil, senhoras e senhores, mais uma vez eu estou honrado em participar desta reunião chamada Unstoppable Africa. Essa é uma ambição de uma parte, uma parceria essencial, sustentável, uma parceria baseada em diálogo e interação entre governos e também do setor privado. Este pacto da ONU representa uma plataforma ideal. Então, nós temos um mecanismo que tem como objetivo ativar os mecanismos do setor privado e também a agenda daqui para frente. Os parceiros no continente sabem da importância do setor privado e para os modelos exitosos que devem ser baseados em 3 fatores: crescimento sustentável, justiça social e uso sustentável dos recursos. Então, a pergunta se permanece: como chegamos a isso? Nossos países sofrem de discriminação nos mercados de capitais. O déficit, a nossa dívida, se tornou um fator danoso. Vocês sabem que nós temos uma dificuldade de lidar com a questão das pessoas pobres e, muito frequentemente, os empréstimos que se dão para essas pessoas são de juros altos. Nós também temos pessoas que sofrem com diferentes crises, mas o continente está avançando a despeito disso. E nós precisamos de coerência no nível das nossas ações.
30 milhões de quilomètres carrés de superfície. Le PNB du continent est de plus de 3 trillions de dollars. Après la Chine, le continent africain est celui qui a le plus grand rythme de croissance sur les 20 dernières années. L'Afrique s'organise. L'Afrique a organisé le sommet sur les énergies en Tanzanie au mois d'avril, appelé Mission 300 millions, pour permettre l'accès à l'électricité à 300 millions d'Africains. L'Afrique a organisé son sommet sur l'agriculture en Ouganda et adopté son plan décennal et sa stratégie pour le développement de l'agriculture. Le sommet sur le climat a été organisé à Addis Abeba au mois de septembre. Autant d'événements qui représentent une ferme volonté de nos dirigeants de relever ensemble les défis du continent. Ce pacte mondial des Nations Unies doit venir en appui à cette dynamique continentale. Nous appelons donc à instaurer un environnement de confiance entre les Nations Unies, l'Union africaine, nos gouvernements et le secteur privé. Cela passe par le renforcement des capacités de financement des PME africaines, la mise en place d'un suivi transparent et rigoureux des engagements des entreprises, assurer une synergie complète entre le pacte mondial, l'agenda 2030 et l'agenda 2063 de l'Afrique. Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, le continent africain table sur sa jeunesse, s'appuie sur ses ressources et compte sur sa capacité de résilience et de créativité. La microfinance, l'innovation numérique et l'entrepreneuriat féminin en sont les témoignages les plus édifiants. Unstoppable Africa n'est pas qu'un simple slogan. C'est d'abord une prise de conscience de notre potentiel, une volonté d'agir pour transformer le quotidien du citoyen africain. La construction d'un monde juste, durable et prospère s'articulera autour des valeurs partagées, de préservation de l'environnement, de partenariat équitable entre gouvernements, institutions internationales, secteur privé et société civile. L'Afrique sera, je n'en doute pas, un instant, le moteur de la croissance mondiale dans les décennies à venir. Travaillons ensemble à cette émergence de notre continent. Je vous remercie.
Thank you very much, Chairperson Youssouf, not only for your inspiring remarks, for your leadership, and for the African Union's steadfast partnership with the United Nations. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it's really now my distinguished honor and privilege to invite the strongest advocate of the unstoppable Africa, Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, to deliver his opening remarks.
Excellencies, dear friends, we gather on the eve of the United Nations 80th General Assembly High-Level Week at a time of turbulence, but also tremendous opportunity. And Africa stands at the center of that opportunity. The continent is home to the world's youngest population, abundant renewable energy resources, and extraordinary creativity, from fintech to fashion, from agriculture to artificial intelligence. Our challenge and responsibility is to turn this extraordinary promise into an engine of inclusive and sustainable prosperity in the line of the Sustainable Development Goals, the Agenda 2063, and the Pact for the Future. First, we must unleash the full potential of Africa's growth through the African Continent Free Trade Area. But this requires enhanced infrastructure, roads, ports, energy grids, harmonized standards, and predictable regulations. Second, we must drive a green industrial revolution. Africa's sun and wind can help power it. Yet it only receives 2% of global renewable energy investment, a glaring injustice. We need a surge in solar and wind projects, expanded grids and storage, and universal energy access for the 600 million Africans still without power. And developed countries must honor their commitments, including doubling adaptation finance. Africa's critical minerals are essential for the clean energy economy. But this must not be another story of extraction without inclusion. My panel on critical energy transition minerals put forward guiding principles to ensure fairness, transparency, and sustainability across the value chain, with human rights at the core. Third, we must transform food systems. Africa holds more than half of the world's uncultivated arable land, but imports over $100 billion on food annually. We must end this paradox by scaling climate-smart agriculture, investing in irrigation and storage, reducing post-harvest losses, and empowering smallholders, especially women. The United Nations Food System Summit Stockade in Addis Ababa showed Africa's leadership. Fourth, we must accelerate Africa's digital leap. The General Assembly has now established two global mechanisms: the Global Dialogue on AI Governance and the Independent International Scientific Panel on AI. They will provide independent expertise and set shared principles, and Africa must be fully engaged in shaping them from the start. Affordable connectivity, regional capacities, and training can unlock inclusive growth and millions of jobs for Africa's youth. That is why I'm calling for a global effort in AI capacity building so that innovation serves development. Excellencies, none of this will be possible without finance. African leadership at the G20 is pushing to put the cost of capital, including through Africa's Cost of Capital Commission, so investment reaches Africa at affordable rates. We need a fundamental overhaul of international financial institutions so that they reflect today's realities, not yesterday's power structures. Delivering on that means supporting countries in debt distress, helping them recover while preventing future crises, tripling the lending capacity of multilateral development banks, and expanding their role in de-risking private investment and private finance for the continent, and giving African countries a stronger representation in global institutions. And reform must extend to the United Nations itself, including the reform of the Security Council. Africa's permanent representation is long overdue. It's a scandal that there is still no African permanent representative in the Security Council. Dear friends, Africa is opportunity, and these events provide a platform to deepen partnerships to power the spirit of unstoppable Africa. So let us invest in Africa's people and potential and make Africa's rise undeniable, inevitable, and unstoppable. Thank you.